stars, does it matter that they moved back? They started it all off. And who moved back because of fear of getting caught? Because it's something that should not have been. It's still a hazing, and they're still involved. Now that they have narrowed it down, they've cleaned off the land, a lot of folks are gone, yet we still have the main two out there, and they're still doing seductive things. They're still on our phones. They're still calling people, reversing whatever blessing because of envy. From my understanding, Perry is stepped back, but he stole a lot of stamps. He stole a lot of things. You go over to Mexico, a lot of people were getting money from our child support. They embezzled, and they're still in position. I also heard that there are folks in the housing authority getting off because they're throwing paperwork. Sheila's throwing paperwork. That's why Sheila came to me. From my understanding, Sheila's throwing paperwork into housing. Now, they keep saying Sheila, and I wonder if it's Sheila O'Neal, and that's one of, I guess her name, I don't know her name, Lamel, is it? Her substitute. From my understanding, Sheila's somewhere still off in government. In fact, a reader said that, what's his name? Mayor Castro wanted to come back because apparently these people are supposed to be out. They cannot re-elect these folks. They're allowing them to stay in position and give up like resignation so it won't look bad. From my understanding, and this is just word of mouth, Sheila O'Neal was actually kicked out of her position as councilwoman because of embezzlement, but was allowed to go back, which was not supposed to be allowed. She was allowed to go back into her, not her position, but another government position, and that was not supposed to have been done. So when Castro questioned it, he was just going to come out and he was going to go back in. Now, in the housing authority, from my understanding, Sheila works very closely with Buckley, and Buckley was supposed to have been out, and yet he was placed back in. Now, I also heard that legal paperwork went down to the court, and there are some paperwork somewhere floating with my signatures on it, forbidding or excluding others from this embezzlement case. There's a lot of stuff going on, y'all. I'm telling you, and they can't cover it. And Obama may be a sweet man, and like they told me, Obama's a very sweet man, and he was trying to release them. He was trying to even it out, and one of the things they said Obama had spoken is that there's too many blacks involved, but they were guilty. He was pressured to do what he did. He didn't want to do he didn't want to allow what was done, and that was to allow Perry to throw them boys, them kids. That's what Perry calls them, kids. From my understanding, Governor Perry calls them kids, and that's what he allowed them to do to those kids, throwing behind bars while him and Michael are still out. Now, at one time I thought Michael did go into the jail cell. I don't know, and from my understanding, some of them went over to Mexico. But I also heard that a lot of pastors also, there was some pastor that was included in this big, whatever you want to call it, and that they were deceived on being behind bars. They were going back there so they could spend their time. Sheila was a mastermind behind a lot of this. And I don't know, again, if it was Senator Sheila or Councilwoman Sheila, but they said Sheila was the mastermind, and she spoke for them in court, and it was allowed. And they were trying to lessen their sentence by getting a judgment to put them off into jail for a certain amount of time. A lot of them was held, and again, from my understanding, a lot of them was killed. They were murdered, and something that they didn't want to get out in society, that they were murdered. But there were some who got out, and it's documented they've done their time. It was something that's supposed to have been done secretly, but they have done their time in this big hazing. And yet they got off, and some of them was the mastermind behind it. Michael was the stem of this, and he's still on the loose, from my understanding. He's still on the loose. He's the one that contaminated the water. There are chemicals in the water, y'all. And then we know the Lord is God, and no weapon formed against us shall prosper. And the reason they found that this was so important for them to address is because I can't speak anything without him trying to reverse, and that's how much envy Michael Brown has. When I spoke yesterday about the family, his endeavor now is to make sure they die. And that's what I heard. They're also tapping, but the tapping is for security. The wiring is for security. That's why I hadn't been, as they said, hit. It's for security. Now, who are the white men involved? I don't know what happened to the bus. Some say there was a Mexicano or Hispanic guy that switched buses, but they were not supposed to switch. Not there. You have to go into the terminal. Something you document bus numbers is a number, driving license, not driving license, but the little license plate number that you need to be on that bus because that's the bus you're registered at. And so when checking, they found that they were not at the right buses. And while the switcheroo went across, it was part of harassment. And a lot of stuff is also being handed down by judges. Now, again, I heard that there are some who are sitting in their offices, they're already arrested. They're being obtained. And that's what they tell them to do, sit still. A lot of folks that we're coming in contact with, they already know they went to the court and they were forbidding to speak. And they're walking in society with information, but they're forbidding to speak until they find out what they're going to do with them. Okay? So we have to be careful. Now, also, Mother Burnett has been on my heart. I don't know what she is. So if you're at my voice, please watch Mother Burnett. I don't know. I just saw Toya. I kept praying the other night that keep her house covered. Because, you know, right now they're keeping a tight hold of the money. And a whole lot of folks that have been living off of government money illegally for years are now stressed out because they can't pay for things that they've already brought in the past. And I don't know why I see Mother Burnett and I saw Toya Taylor. I really did. I did. And so I've been praying over Mother Burnett's house. I don't know what's in there. I hadn't seen Mother Burnett in years, and I don't know what's going on with Mother Burnett, but I've really been praying over Mother Burnett. I almost thought I was asleep the other night, and I heard someone give direction. I really felt like Buckley was so tight with Michael, and they were so involved in this, but I found out it was Sheila. But I also saw him with Toya, and that's the one that works with the housing. And a lot of the housing folks who have backed out, they're now fighting. From my understanding, the Hispanic folks was fighting for me. Okay? They were fighting for me. They were fighting for what was going on. A lot of them are on the Facebook. And because of Facebook and listening in, they were able to understand what was going on in housing. And they began to take offense to it. And they fought it. And so it's not like it's a black, white, Hispanic war. I am an African-American woman. Another thing they were trying to put on paperwork. They have switched birth certificates. They've done all kind of things. And this all supposed to include Obama. Obama was under arrest because of anger, not because of what was going on. Now, in his listening to The Walls of Fire, some folks gave me the understanding that he drew an attraction. Now, let me also let you know that they said Marvin Sapp did also. And Marvin Sapp also told some folks that he wanted me, Renee Campbell. So they're all supposed to be involved. They all came from the Baptists. That's how they came together. I don't know if Mel Holden had anything to do with what was going on for my issues, that he was going through some things. So that I take it lightly, but I don't know exactly what he has to do. But they said he was aware somewhat of what was going on. This has been going on for years. He's been trying to throw out me information to get me on radios and stuff like that for years. So I thank you for that, Mel Holden. But I don't know how much of he knew about what was going on. I don't know. We're not going to exclude Ray Brown, which is standing back in fear now, from my understanding. But again, it was told that President Obama had somewhat of an affection once he got involved, but he was also angry because of a lot of things that was said. So now his anger is turned to hatred. So we want to look at a lot of stuff he has done wrong. And Michelle was somewhat involved with the housing scam and a lot of other stuff. Tyler was being honorable at first with Obama, from my understanding, and he tried to cover Obama because he loves his president. But some folks said Obama did turn his heart against blacks in the beginning, aware that he was black. So he's not pretending that he's not a black man. But they said Obama's very cool. That's what they told me. He's very cool. And that he has somewhat to do with it, but he's not totally connected to it. It's actually a Perry fight, a Rick Perry fight. And he was dedicated to Rick Perry because of Perry being in government. That he didn't want to strike the ones that he knew needed to strike. And in fact, he was keeping his mouth closed. And now, there are some folks that said that Castro asked to come up to make it appear that Obama called him up so his lies can